All right, check it out. 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. This is the October edition of podcast. We have the utmost privilege to be joined by Somalia Marines, also 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. As you can see by our school circle, it's just for the next 35, 45 minutes. It's just going to be a bunch of Marines telling some good stories, telling about their life experiences, transitions, ups and downs, anything they want to talk about, and absolutely fucking nothing they don't want to talk about. Tracking? So with that being said, we'll start from my left to the right. Brief introduction, where you're from, what unit were you in, and when did you get out?
Hi, my name is Reed Meyer. I was with 3-1 from January 94 to 97. The EAS, we're the weapons company, 81's platoon.
Good deal.
Brian Zering, CAAT Team Alpha, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. Same time frame. I'm just going to piggyback 93 to 97.
Caveat.
God damn, that sounds like a Texan right there.
We're going to piggyback. Caveat.
A little bit. He's trying to be. Greg Dunn, same thing. CAAT Alpha with this guy. Weapons platoon, 3-1, from 94 to 95 and a half, somewhere around there.
Travis Strum, Weapons Company, 81's platoon, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, 93-ish to 95.
Tony Holgrave, Petoskey, Michigan, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, 81's platoon, 93 to 97, and then again from 99 to 03 with various Pogue units.
That's persons other than me.
Make sure you're in. I'm pretty sure of it.
In the grunt world,
saying,
he has to say that.
Start with weapons 3-1, 93, and then ended up with 123 and 124 all the way to 2005.
Fuck yeah.
Good deal. And of course, you know my co-host, Corey Murphy.
Murph, I wasn't around for any of this.
We were not, but I tell you what, it's nothing but respect for this gang, this group of people. We've had a chance to talk to them, some of them one-on-one. This, like I said earlier, is a group setting. And what we'll do is we'll open that up with first. It's not a whole lot of Q&A going on. We definitely want an open forum where these guys, or these Marines, have a chance to basically tell their story. Again, what they would like to tell you. We'll start at my left. We're not going to repeat names again. We're just going to call them Marines because that's what they are. And we'll talk about. I think I'll open up the first line of question is like, what are some of the what do you guys do for a living now, and what do you? How does that transition? What did you learn in the Marine Corps that helped you transition to that side of the house? We'll call it the civilian sector, or we call it the more dangerous Marine, if you will. So, outstanding. So we're starting over here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do now for a living?
What I do for money, I sell guns. I own a small gun shop, Southeast Indiana.
No shit, you want to plug it?
That sounded legal.
Okay, I was like, you don't have to fucking name your place.
That sounded legal as fuck, didn't it? I sell guns out of my trunk.
Now, but as far as that's what I do for money.
We can edit this, right?
What I do to make myself normal, what I do to make myself want to get up in the freaking morning. I coach youth sports.
Oh shit.
Generally 1st through 4th grade kids, baseball, basketball, football, wrestling. That's what makes me back to normal, back to right.
Yeah.
Started doing that about 5 years ago or so, and that's what I do.
What sport you coach exactly?
Well, baseball, football,
okay.
Basketball, and wrestling.
The big three, four, yeah.
So American sports.
Yeah, American sports. Nobody coaching no soccer.
Gymnastics.
We do the national anthem before most everything that we can. Obviously,
Right on.
Wrestling's not. Can't do it all the time because you did different gyms and different
Yeah.
times and stuff. But for every practice in football, every game, we have them line up and they get it.
Hell yeah.
So,
Awesome.
Good deal. We're definitely it's definitely a motivating story. We appreciate it. It's always a good opportunity when you can give back to the community, and especially give back to the kids.
well, part of it, getting out. Everybody here when we were in, we had a purpose, and it was clearly defined, and that's what we lived for. Getting out, I think, is why a lot of guys have as much trouble as they do. Right. They don't have that defined
There's no
purpose.
mission.
Yeah, there's no mission that's doing good, and that's, like I said, with the coaching, that's become my purpose, my mission.
Okay.
That's just me.
No, that's.
I think that's a lot of people.
I mean, actually, what you just said, as far as like having a mission, is like whether it's coaching kids or taking care of your dogs, is like you want to make sure that you're going to give something back where you feel like you're still making a difference. That
You're
makes
not just living
sense.
for you.
Yeah, sure. And you definitely, like for me, is not get it because it's definitely not about me. It's like when I was a parent, I found it that even when those nights are tough, everybody stays awake at night. You're like, yeah, that's the easy way out, or that's, but it's not fair to everybody around me, especially my daughter and people that I count on. So I was able to go through those times using somebody as an excuse, as far as like a good kind of excuse, not to do anything that's ridiculous. If that makes any sense, and I'm sure it does. So we won't go too much of that. Next up.
Hey, thanks for sharing, man. That was good stuff, dude.
Yeah. If you've seen the movie Hancock, I just had a flashback.
I ain't seen that movie. I don't know what that.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
good
good.
job.
I don't know if I'm the butt of the joke or the joke
No,
itself.
no,
so,
you're good.
No,
but
it's a good thing.
no, it's all good.
Everybody likes butts, so it's cool. Carry
Right on, man. But no, I was machine gunner with the platoon there. I think the question was, what was your story? I don't have any amazing stories from being in overseas in Mogadishu. I was just glad to get off that stupid boat and actually, try to do what we were supposed to be doing there. I don't actually have a lot of memories of it. It's only because I've been now. I'll get to that in a second.
Sorry, my bad.
I'm
I'm Johnny on the spot, man. Like,
Eddie, stand down. I don't have a lot of stories from being overseas. I was just glad I had a chance to make that experience and actually imprint it in my mind and my memory for something for a long time. And we all have that commonality. That's why we think we're here. So, but I currently work as a registered nurse, and so my new mission, if that's what, hey, how do you transition? How do you move forward? And how do you continue to make this place a better place for people to live in? If you're not putting rounds down range, well, I take care of people at the bedsides. And quite frankly, I've been a registered nurse for about 16, going on 17 years. I work in cardiology. And
he's a smart nurse.
when people don't, let's be honest, they don't show up to the hospital because it's Disneyland, they're not doing too well.
Yeah.
Sort of kind of like we was overseas. These people weren't doing well. The Marines show up. We're going to try to help out today. And so that's what I do now, and it's a humbling experience. A lot of time, I'm always reminded about what you can do, and whatever situation you go in it, I guarantee you, somebody's having it a little bit worse right now.
Yep.
And so we got to do our best to put that mission forward, and like I said, just try to make the world a better place. And that's it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Next up.
Yeah, well, I mean,
The beard game is strong, by the way, on this one. So
hey, I'm trying.
I showed him how to
Keep
do
up with
it.
some of these guys. Yeah, he's got a beard when he goes
I mean,
in.
you gave up.
pretty impressive.
Right, you guys got
You have a little envy over here.
handing over the mantle.
We're staring at it.
I gotta comb it, man. This thing
Hey,
freaking great.
I didn't
man.
shave
We're fucking
mine.
staring at it over here.
Everybody's like, okay, yeah, that's making me feel weird, bro. Keep your eyes.
Oh,
It's nice.
we got to burn a lot of time, Hot Rod. So,
No, so piggybacking off of these guys, I transitioned out of the Marine Corps as an 0351, which at the time, now it's a completely different MOS designation. But at the time it was anti-tank assaultman demolitions expert, which doesn't translate to the civilian world very well. We got a secondary MOS as 0331, but that doesn't translate very well unless you're on a clock tower. So at
security guard. is what
Yeah,
I
right.
found out.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
fuck
that's
you.
observe and report, dude. You're telling a Marine to observe and report, that's not going to happen. So anyway,
Yeah.
coming out of the Marine Corps, I did not know what I was going to do. So I went into construction. I'm probably the poster child for jobs for the Marine. Didn't know what to do, so I got into construction, did a bunch of construction, learned all the trades, concrete, masonry, framing, you name it. I learned all the trades because it was easy. It's working with my hands. It's like digging ditches. We know how to use an E-tool to dig. I can do that. So you give me some hard
Fire
labor.
prevention.
What's that?
Fire prevention.
Unless the ground gets hard, then fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Unless that
Ranger
water
sand,
table
I can
sounds
dig
like,
a ditch all
I'm
day.
sleeping.
but-
Those are Ranger graves, man. Quit digging. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. So I went through a bunch of trades before I said, you know what, I can't break my back. I'm going to have kids eventually. Got married at a young age, and then decided to change my idea of physical labor and went to mental labor, and I became an IT guy. So I was in the computer industry for a while, better part of 19 years. Got to a point where I was the IT director for Gold's Gym. Got up there and said, you know what, this industry is just it's corrupt. It's hard. It's a hard industry to stay on top of because it's changing so fast. And as you guys know,
retail now.
It's crazy.
Retail,
It is, and the problem with IT in general is it's not secure. There's no way to secure an IT environment. It's just impossible. But they put it on the director of the IT, so it's kind of like providing personal security, because I did that too. Because everybody here has been a bodyguard or security guard at some point, because that's what we naturally do.
Yeah, I made a joke about it earlier, but it was, for me, it actually worked out to be a great opportunity, but it was the ground floor.
And I did that for the better part of a year and a half for a company called Gavin Becker out in California, and I was celebrity bodyguard. But they don't care about who you are. They don't care if you take a bullet.
Well,
for 'em.
you got to figure there's a lot of us out there in the work sector.
Right.
And then a lot of times you'll get hiring privileges because you are you get to go, we'll call it the front of the line because of your background. But it doesn't really, once you get there, it's like,
Well, see,
what's
and,
next?
and that's what's interesting, because when you guys say that stuff was all new to you guys. Back when we got out, we didn't have hiring privileges. There was nothing for veterans when we got out, and that was the hard part. Because when we transitioned, we EAS'd. When we had what's the I don't remember what it was called, the transitioning program that we had.
Taps.
Steps and taps. Steps and taps.
Yeah, they didn't have any of that.
Yeah, it's a week
for us.
long now.
They
by the way.
basically said you're going to have to get a job, and you're on your own. That was it. There was no, here's how we're going to help you transition. And so when we got out, we were basically on our own. So what do?
So you guys were definitely at a disadvantage.
We were totally at a
Yeah,
disadvantage.
'97. It was just here's your DD 214.
That's exactly 100% what it was.
And that's unfortunate.
That was the hardest part for us, is because not only did we not have any decompression from Somalia, nobody asked us how we were feeling. Nobody asked us what we saw. Nobody asked us a thing. For the whole ship ride back, nobody said, hey, let's work through this. Nobody said anything to us.
Well, and that reflected in that first weekend back. All those fucking Liberty.
That was
incidents
the
we
hardest
had.
part. That was the hardest part, getting back to the States,
Yeah.
right? And going, what do I do now?
Well, see, that had to be that's like tough for everybody. It had to be more so tough for you guys because there was you didn't have anybody there to give you the warm fuzzy or rub your belly or anything like that. And
Well, there was
Well,
no
nobody knew-
PTSD
nobody knew what we
conditioning.
fucking
There
did.
was no.
it was a fucking taboo word, is what it was.
It was.
It was.
And
It
it
was.
wasn't PTSD.
And
Wasn't
remember when we flew
involved.
off? We flew off the Essex and landed at Porno, and there was like a wife there. Welcome home, baby.
Yeah,
And
nobody
then
knew what we fucking
something
did.
else.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it.
We come home talking about Somalia, and everybody's like, "Where's that?"
Yeah.
Nobody fucking knew
Yeah.
what we fucking
And
did.
then there's nothing to whether it's Somalia or freaking Chosen Reservoir. It's not something you want to talk. In this setting right here, it's easy for us to talk about. Everybody wants to hear your story. They always want to ask you like, did you kill anybody? And it's like, fucking
If you
about
are
to.
older than
Yeah.
10 years
So-
old, that is not an appropriate question to fucking ask.
Yeah.
And I told
But
you.
they don't understand that, and that's where we have to come up and rise above and turn up our knowledge level and go. They just don't get it.
It's like the bridging the gap thing, right? Like
It's-
you want to bring that knowledge to them. Like, don't
But
ask
that's
that
the
kind of
hard
shit
part,
already.
because when we get out, we never got the tools, and you guys probably didn't get the tools, the social interaction tools with civilians.
Yeah.
Because at one point we were civilians, but we were so young, we didn't know how to socially interact with people. So we were learning how to socially interact in the Marine Corps. Wrong
Yeah.
place to learn how to socially interact.
We just met an
echo chamber of
we could go out right
retardation.
now and have a great time, but we would not be socially interacting with anybody. But we would probably get thrown out. Well, give us about an hour.
Well, that's my point. If a
So-
knife hand is not incorporated in social interaction, then something's wrong. I don't feel
Or
right.
they throw you in a kill box for 8 hours by yourself and say, hey, guard this shit. Now go interact with people.
Right.
What?
And that's exactly the problem that we had coming back is, not only did we come back, we're integrated onto a base where for years and at our thing today, Atkins, Alex talked about the campaigns that were prior to from Korea. We're the first amphibious unit to actually land on a hot LZ and come out of the hot LZ. The stuff that we did, no unit has done. So we can't even talk to other Marines other than Korean Marines.
Right.
Where do you find them?
Yeah.
I don't,
Well,
go to
the last one was
VFW.
like what, Incheon?
Yeah.
Incheon
Yeah.
was the
Yeah,
last
maybe
last
VFW,
landing.
yeah.
of
And so
that type of
now
scenario.
we're really unique in the sense that we got really lucky in that environment, right? We all say it. We just rolled the dice and we were on that ship at the right time in the right place. We didn't do anything special. We didn't train any harder than anybody else did. We were just thrown into an environment. So, coming back from that, it's really hard to try to figure out, well, how do I transition my MOS into the civilian world? Well, there is no transitioning your MOS, but that's what they tell you. Well, they don't tell you, use your leadership skills, use your organizational skills, use those. It took me better part of 15 years to figure out, I'm not just a heavy machine gun demolitions expert. I can use leadership. I can communicate with fellas and go, hey guys, let's step up to the plate. Let's make this place better than when we got here. I didn't know I could do that. I just did it, but it didn't dawn on me that that's management. You know, I was a Lance Corporal in charge of a Humvee with a crew of 5 other Marines. So I'm in charge of lights. I'm in charge of a tow missile system, which is, I don't know how much that's worth, but, or a 50 cal or whatever. I'm in charge of all that stuff. But when I get in the civilian world, we're working at Vitamin Bar and we're working at Pepperdine University. We're working at these places going, I don't know what to do. I really don't know how to manage this situation. Because civilians tell you, well, you haven't had the right management classes in college, so since you don't have that, you
that's
can't
the
attain.
biggest. That's once again, and I'll use this term at nauseum is people don't think the Marine Corps prepares you for anything like this, and on this side of the house, the civilian sector, and that's not true. It teaches you. You spend a good majority if you stay in, whether it's 4 years or 20 years, you're trying to convince junior Marines or people around you that shit sandwich is delicious. That is a leadership fucking trait. That's not on JJ type buckle at all. It's freaking they should add that. I'm going to show you how what you're doing right now, and I'm going to show you by doing it with you that this shit sandwich is delicious.
And I'm actually still doing it today by talking my 2 squad members into coming and doing this podcast.
Exactly.
This fucker was our squad leader.
Yeah. So I mean, by just getting up here into behind a video camera and a mic. That shows that it takes balls. It takes balls to do, just to wake up, and it takes balls to show people the right way of doing stuff. Do the right thing even when no one's looking.
Right.
So in the civilian sector, everybody is looking.
Yeah. And that shit sandwich tastes better together.
Yeah, it tastes better. That's the one thing.
Everybody's got a fucking bite and you're all chewing at the same time. It's waving.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Well, yeah.
Cool.
So that's in a nutshell. Sorry, I took
no. That's exactly.
Help us go
point.
exactly where we're going.
Go for it,
and if anybody misses something, if we want to loop back, we're on a. We're here. We're good.
Gotcha.
So.
I had a bunch of odd and end stuff when I got out of the service. Just like you're saying, I didn't transition well. Civilian life, they didn't know how to take me, didn't know how to handle me. I didn't communicate well because we didn't learn communication skills. Because we communicate on a different level than other people do. Just a
we
look
yell.
between us.
We yell down in a vehicle or yell across.
Grunts. Yeah, grunts.
Oi, cunt.
Yes. So, and that's not appropriate apparently in civilian life. So a bunch of odd and end jobs. So what I did is I leaned back on what I was comfortable with before I went in the Corps, and I was heavy into martial arts, and I went and taught karate for a martial arts studio for a couple of years. I did some other odd and end stuff, all the while doing a lot of interviews for police departments, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do, is get back in like some kind of law enforcement, something that I was familiar with. Okay, we've got a gun, we've got something that's kind of paramilitary. I can't
say. He can get you one out of the trunk if you need it.
Right.
Yeah, we're not in California here, right? We can talk freely about
this. This is Tennessee freaking sea. Yeah, boy.
So I can't tell you how many different police departments I interviewed at. I was a fast company Marine. I was also a Kings Bay Marine, where we did a lot of close quarters battle. I taught close quarters battles to our units there. So I mean, I knew that shit inside and out. So I knew the police stuff, the tactical stuff, better than they knew it. And interviewed after interview after interview, and I constantly failed at the interviews. Like I would never be able to get a position. Now, like, this is just mind-numbing. I mean, probably 10 different police departments around the Tennessee area. And finally, I got on a department, and I think they had like 16 spots or something. It was a lot of spots, and I was probably like number 15 on the list of the people they hired. And I got hired at a local police department. I went through the academy. And
where at? What department?
It was Hendersonville.
Hendersonville. Oh, so in.
Yeah, right here in Tennessee.
Cool.
And
we'll be hanging out. That's your local, and I'm like right down the street. So
just hit me up, bro. Ended up, and I knew in my mind what I was capable of and what we've all done together. Ended up graduating #1 out of the academy. And to me, I was like, shocker, fuckers. I could have done this fucking 10 interviews ago.
Yeah.
I just woke up, assholes.
Yeah, you guys don't know what's going on yet. So I did that, and I did that for a couple of years, and somehow or another fell into a career with insurance of all freaking things. And I've been an insurance agent for the last, this will be 20 years for me this year.
So you got out of the department?
I got out of the department. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was great. I had a child on the way at the time when I made the decision, because at the time I was making $11.81 an hour as a police officer.
Jeez,
as a Hendersonville police officer. And, that's what it was at the time.
Yeah. Well, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
$11 went a little further in the 90s.
Yeah. I could not afford a house, though, in the area I lived in.
Yeah.
So that made me kind of reevaluate some stuff. I wasn't really looking at anything because I was super happy with what I was doing. I was like, I love being a cop. This is awesome. This is kind of like the Marine Corps. You know, even though the people there, you know, the higher ups and whatnot didn't relate to me well and didn't get along well with a lot of guys initially, they fucking hated me because I'm like, you guys think you're paramilitary, but you're really not fucking paramilitary. And ended up doing that, and then fell into the insurance thing of all crazy ass things. Did that, and it's been amazing for me. You know, transition, and it actually taught me how to be a good person and a good listener and a good talker and somebody that did that just out of pure survival because I'm like, I know I need to make this work. Right. Because I can't buy a house, and I don't want my kids living in an apartment the rest of our lives. Yeah. And so I made it work, and it's been great for me. And as far as like what I do to make myself like, because insurance does not translate to Marine, you know. Right. What I do to kind of make myself feel normal and more like a Marine or whatever is I practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Super successful at that last year. I've had a great run. I haven't really competed in the last year. I do a lot of competing. We travel all around the country and compete. Last year, best year I ever had, went to the 2018 Worlds and actually won the Worlds at my division. I'd been promoted to purple belt 3 months earlier than that, so I actually competed at division. I'd only had that belt for 3 months and actually went and won. Wow. And in the finals of the fourth match, I had 4 matches. There were 16 guys in my division, and the fourth match I was down by 5 points, and everybody on my sideline, I had a bunch of team members there. A bunch of guys actually was there from Hendersonville. And I was down by 5, and it was like he was just going to stomp my ass, and that was going to be the end of it. And I pulled it out and freaking basically submitted him. And, ended the match. But that's what I do for fun, and it kind of makes me feel normal. Now I share.
You're choking somebody out. You know?
That's normal in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. I'm into art. I do some crafts. I choke this fucker out.
Macaroni macrame.
Yeah. But that's what I do for fun, you know. And I kind of share now. I'm brown belt now, so I'm more about teaching the guys that are under me and kind of getting them ready for the next tournament or something like that. But I do a lot of that. It makes me feel good, you know. It releases some stress and some tension, you know. Just because I don't do that sitting behind a desk all day, 8-10 hours a day, just sitting there staring at a computer screen. But it's super helpful.
You talked about being a good listener, and like stuff like that. Even in the Marine Corps, like, you know, as you move up, you're listening to whether you're standing over a terrain model and you're listening and downloading information, or you're listening to, you know, a fellow Marine, or, you know, talk about, you know, you're saying, you know, stop being a pussy or that kind of stuff. But you listen, you remember those stories, and those are the type of things that set you up for the civilian life, is being a good listener. It drives my girlfriend crazy. That's because she always listens to this, that I can actually recite back information. It's like, no, honey, that's not what you said. This is what you said. And I always go verbatim. It was October 2nd, and you said that you were going to get up in the morning, and because we're going to the wedding, and you were just a real fucking story, and you were going to wash the truck, or have the truck washed through the thing. So it's, we got to leave for the wedding, and my truck's filthy. Right. So you forgot, right?
Hold on, was the truck in the wedding?
Huh?
Who gives a shit?
It sounds like
That's what I'm wondering.
This is a field day mentality, bro.
I guess so. I'm not siding with the girlfriend, even though I'm staying at her house.
He's staying in the guest room, by the way. You're not.
Yeah.
This is fucking Tennessee. Your truck's got to be clean before you go to a
Yeah,
wedding.
you know what,
I drive a Jeep. I don't give a shit.
So anyway, but that's what I'm saying, is you learn, whether it's in bedside manner or or teaching, you know, coaching, you learn how to be a good, because you got to listen first before you can teach. So anything that you've learned by fucking what? Listening. So that sets you up for insurance and everything. Whether you thought you were paying attention or not, you were. There's shit that you freaking know now that I bet you can tell me the freaking at least 80% of what the last terrain model that you saw. Or you can also tell me what you're going to, after you go home tonight, you're going to remember, hey, that Johnny said some funny shit. Or he said some stupid shit.
Yeah, but that kind of recollection comes up at the weirdest moments. Yeah. Because there's times when stuff that we came back from, just like 2 years ago, I recalled, out of nowhere, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second, did we do that? Did I see that?" And then it's vivid. Then it's like, yeah, I remember the time that led up to that. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, that blank spot just filled itself in, out of nowhere.
The one thing that transitions from the Marine Corps over to the civilian sector is fucking what? Situational awareness.
Yeah.
Situational. What do you do right now? If you would go to the Applebee's, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do when you go to sit? What do you do?
Order a beer.
Like, I want to get the corner. I got the dominant center. You got the exit point.
Assessing the biggest
and you do
motherfucker
that.
in the room.
Who's not going to be here to help me?
Who's packing? Who's not?
That's true too.
Pretty much everybody.
Who's a threat? Who's not?
On my own.
We stopped yesterday on a 109, and some sure, he had a Glock, like a Glock 27 on the side, and then a 357 tucked in the back, and I go,
all right,
that's my fucking people right there. So I guess
I went while they're shooting
hope
him.
he's stable.
I'm pulling over here.
I ain't gonna cut his ass off at the salad bar. That's for
No.
sure.
Yeah.
So, but it's stuff like that, and and that's what transitions are. You think of all the stuff people say, well, what helped you in the Marine Corps? And you can't really recall it, but when you get out on the floor, whether you work in a warehouse, you're a machinist, you're a nurse, you're a baseball coach, where you teach martial or whatever you fucking do. So even like your motorcycle club, I'm sure there's always a honcho out there to organize this shit. It's like if you're gonna do a poker run or something like that, or you're gonna give back to the community. There's always one guy, two guys, and probably in your case, everybody has it. You know what? This is the way we're gonna fucking do it. So we're gonna execute. It's like whether you know it or not, everything that you do, you're doing a 6-paragraph order. Yeah. So you don't even realize you're fucking doing it.
Well, actually, we do. Everybody in our club is a Marine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And in your case, it's like.
So you got too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of alpha mentalities.
Yeah.
We're
Well, people say you guys are
brothers
you got an
sometimes.
alpha male
Yeah.
mentality. Go, fuck no, I'm an apex predator. I sit on my lap.
But yeah, you're not wrong. But we've all got our assigned roles within the club.
Mhm.
Or,
Well, you have
to
a
abide by
hierarchy.
that.
You have it just like
Just
you
a
have a
hierarchy.
rank chain,
Yep.
or you have rank in the Marine Corps. You have
Yep, we
anything that you do.
We have a chain of command that runs from chapter to state to regional to national.
That's part of being accepted into that type of brotherhood, or any type of group or association.
Mhm.
It's like you all have an instant understanding. It almost goes unspoken, right?
And
Well, I think that's a big part of probably why you're involved with something like that, and why being civilian for us sucks, because there is no structure.
Fraternity.
Your status changes day to day.
Aye.
In the Marine
Right.
Corps, you know where you're at, minute to minute.
Yeah.
You,
And it makes
you know
us
where it's going
different,
to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Out here, I mean, it's just fucked
For
up.
any other branch, because I was in the Air Force, and I tell you, I couldn't, nothing against it. And if we have any listeners or prior Air Force, I could not get out of there fast. I was a firefighter. I got out. I did the firefighter gig. I did that long enough to figure out it wasn't like the fucking movie Backdraft at all.
Yeah.
It was mostly just people doing stupid shit. Those late night info commercials. Does this shit ever happen to you? Well, it never happened to me, but this fucking guy can't change a light bulb to save his life because I killed him. And then when I joined the Marine Corps, that's when you find that camaraderie, that sense of worth, that type of atmosphere.
It's hard to find institutional pride anywhere in corporate America.
I'll give you.
Yeah.
I think I've already mentioned this earlier. Like the best piece of advice that I ever received when I got into the civilian sector was they're not Marines.
Right.
So
Don't expect them to
No,
behave
don't
like
expect
you
being
do.
Marines.
That would have
That's
been fucking helpful
That's
20
good
something
advice.
years ago.
Yeah, great advice.
Just saying.
They did not say that to
Yeah.
us, dude.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
they're not
It
Marines.
took me a long time to get through my head is that you cannot expect someone
Never
else
never
to have the
lower.
same heart you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, for
it
sure.
took
Yeah.
years.
Never lower your your expectations or holding somebody accountable, because you can do that in the civilian sector, but you got to raise your tolerance.
Yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
any sense.
Anybody
Great
ever
advice.
get shunned for that? Like you show up to work early,
And
or
you're
you
a
do
kiss
something,
ass.
and then people are like, "Man,
Relax,
you're such a
man,
kiss ass."
relax,
What's
man.
wrong with
Yeah,
you?
make
You're
us
like,
look
I
bad.
can't turn it off.
Yeah,
I don't know how to turn it
That's a real
off.
big one, right? You're gonna make us look bad. You're gonna expect more.
Yeah, who do you think you are, bro?
Yeah, what are you trying to earn that paycheck?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of fucking. I'm trying to earn it.
Man, that was
Jesus.
hard to
Yep.
deal with.
You said
Yeah.
that about the rank structure and all that. It makes a lot of sense, because that's probably why I transitioned to martial arts so good, because there is a rank structure in there, and there is a pecking order of what's going on.
There's a
what's
respect
going on.
for the
Oh,
people
yes.
that your
And you fucking
mentors.
earn it. It's-
You have to
And if you
fucking
don't, you're
earn
gonna get
it.
choked out.
You have to fucking earn it.
I'm gonna make an example of you real
Might go
quick.
It don't take long, because there's always somebody bigger.
They don't give a
and
bell.
badder.
I will use your belt to choke you out,
Yeah.
dude.
You pass out the fastest, so you get that fuchsia belt.
Exactly. I can tell you this, kind of thinking about the single biggest thing that I've probably leaned on, that I got from the Marine Corps and everything that I've done that's helped me succeed and be successful, is the discipline I learned.
Oh yeah.
Because what I do is, I'm not a huge good salesman in my job. I don't feel like a salesman, but I am disciplined to know that, hey, look, I need to do this, I need to ask this, I need to do this. So it's like ABC for me.
Yeah.
It's a discipline to make me to do that same thing every day.
Right.
And that's why I think I'm successful sometimes where some people aren't, is because they don't have the fucking discipline to go, well, maybe I should do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm willing to do the things you aren't willing to do, and that's why I'm successful. I'm not talking about weird shit. I'll do a little weird shit too. But
That's a different podcast.
That's a different
altogether.
podcast.
You're talking the group of Marines. You're talking about weird.
I don't feel like
shit.
we're dressed appropriately for
The
that.
bar's a little
Oh
high.
my god.
That earns you social cred.
Right, right. So that's really what I lean on, is
Yeah.
that part of that discipline that
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, look, I can do this, because mentally it does not bother me to do this. Like, I don't want to ask people, like, I don't want to ask this
But
lady.
we can put up with a lot of shit.
Yeah, I don't want to ask this lady how tall she is, how much she weighs, when's the last time she menstruated, whatever it
She's
is.
gonna
I'm
lie
doing all
about
this
all of it
insurance.
anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever. I don't want to do that, but you know what? I gotta fucking do it. I don't have no soul when it comes to it, because I'm past
Well, you
that.
put the clinical aspect to it.
Right.
Now. It's just a job.
I changed it
Just a
to make
job.
it work, and that's
Right.
how I mean, really, that's how I become successful. You know, just doing that, just by sticking to my guns and saying, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I need to figure out a way to make this work in my mind, like the Marines do it, and that's what I've done.
That's right.
Good stuff.
That's awesome.
You're up, my man.
Shit.
I know. That happens sooner or later.
You know, I gotta be honest. I dread the question, "What do you do for a living?"
We
Because
don't have to say what do you do for fun.
What do you live to do?
well, no,
How about that?
you know,
What do you live to
I'll give
do?
you
There
that.
you go.
That's
Well,
all right.
the reason why I dread that
That's
question
fucking
is
good point,
because in civilian circles, they ask you, "Well, what do you do for a living?" Because they want to know how much respect to assign
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, that's
Where
right.
you
So,
at?
and I'm not worried about that in this circle because we're all fucking Marines or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
We
right.
all have the mutual respect.
That's right, man.
Already
You're not paying
united.
You're my
attention.
brother, dude. You're my brother, man. Come on now.
We're all fucking. I said it earlier.
Come on,
when I
get
talked to
dirty.
you guys.
Get dirty, get
Tell
dirty. Well, I've been a professional pornographer for the last 5. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
I
goddamn.
knew it.
That's not a shocker, dude.
I know I see the back of your head.
That's actually a true story. That's a true story.
It's not.
That's
It's
true.
not. I
Yeah.
swear.
They
baby,
pay
it's not.
more for doing that. than making a joke.
Wait, are you an actor? Or,
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
I'm talking shit.
Clean up crew.
The first time I got out of the Marine Corps, my transition was fine. Actually, you know, I got out of the Marine Corps June 20th, June 23rd. I had a job.
Yeah.
You know, I went to work for Brinks. I drove an armored truck in San Diego for a few years, and quickly hit a fucking glass ceiling. You were talking about, you know, people, you know, giving you shit because you're actually working hard and doing your
You're
job.
actually doing your job.
Uh,
They pay you to do
Yeah, they stuck me in a truck with this dude. The driver, he was a fucking clock milker. You know, so he would drag ass and get, you know, 10, 12 hours of overtime every fucking week. But, you know, and I still had the hustle. I was young and not broken.
Right.
So I was bringing the route in that he was doing in 10 to 12 hours. I was bringing it back in 7. So I got a lot of shit from the people that I was working with. And
It's not how you play the game, bro.
What are
you
you
know,
doing?
It's not how you
What are
play
you
the
doing,
game, man.
Well, I actually did pretty well at the job.
Yeah.
You know, I was recognized for what I did. Of
course you did.
But some prior service recruiter tickled my taint hard enough, and I went back into the Marine Corps in '99.
Ouch.
Pathetic.
Yeah, it was really good.
Probably the same thing.
Same feather got it the first time.
The same feather he uses on everybody. It was a little dirty. My transition after Iraq was hard, real fucking hard. I bounced around to a lot of shit because I wasn't ready to get out. I got put out faster. So you're talking about if you're in the 03 field, none of your freaking job skills translate to the civilian inspector. Nobody needs heavy machine gunners at Walmart.
Nope.
You know,
Not yet.
Man, that'd be awesome.
Sometimes.
Well, apparently
It's the future we're all hoping for, man.
Have you not seen Christmas videos?
Welcome to Walmart, motherfucker.
right.
Get your shit and get out.
So I went to college. Thought I'd decided I wanted to be a teacher because I was a PMI. My second tour. So hey, I can teach.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't realize that they wanted to stick me in with children. So I was quickly weeded out of
Side pictures, side alignments!
Well, I realized that while I do love children, I don't love other people's children.
Right,
Not 30 at a
right.
time. So I
Yeah.
jumped majors and went into emergency medical services. Well, 3 freaking clinicals later, this is not the field for me. Changed majors again.
I'm done taking stool samples. I'm out.
So the bitch I was banging at the time was a hobbyist photographer.
You almost married
So-
that one, right? It sounds like.
What's that?
You almost married that
Sounds
one.
like a
The
typical
bitch I
Lance
was
Corporal
banging.
mentality.
I love the fuck out of her.
No, she was crazy. The sex was amazing, but she was fucking crazy. I had no intentions of marrying her. She threw a knife at me.
Right.
But she did this thing where there was a rip.
You were a PMI, you didn't teach how to hit with a
That
knife.
sounds like some Louis Armstrong
But,
shit.
so I just on a lark, I said, hey, let's take this photography class together. It was just something for us to do together on a Saturday night, or actually Tuesday night, and I fell in love with it. So I fucking changed majors and studied photography for the next 4 years. Ran a studio for almost 3 years, and because of my fabulous fucking people skills, I ran it right into the ground. What I needed to do was hire somebody to be the front end and just let me be the talent.
Sure.
Because as time went on, I just my people skills just eroded, and I spent a lot of time alone. I spent freaking most of fucking 2004 to 2012 pretty much by myself. I venture out, there was a lot of people that knew who I was, but nobody knew me, and I didn't know anybody. So I bounced around to a lot of shit. The last job that I had, I worked in nuclear security, and that was It was a decent gig. It was a good fit. And it, used some of my infantry leadership skills. But when I told one of my subordinates who was complaining about the schedule to stop menstruating on my desk and get the fuck back to work.
HR frowned upon that.
HR frowned upon that.
She didn't like that very much.
No, it was a he. It was a he.
Yeah.
I don't even have a vagina, I'm sure. But like I said, the micromanagement got to a point where I don't need this. I'm going back to doing the art. I have no interest in running a studio again, so I just do the art on the side. But what keeps me sane and keeps the pistol out of my mouth is my motorcycle club.
Anyway, that's good stuff.
So,
And how many guys are on the club?
I'm not going to talk about that.
That's a club thing.
Club business.
Yeah, we're a traditional three-piece patch motorcycle club. We don't talk about others.
Nice.
But we are a large national club. I'll tell you that.
Did you start it, or was it already existing?
No, it was already existing.
I think James is a member.
hatch
We
into
have a
that.
So,
couple,
yeah,
we have a couple of
guys
brothers
that
that are up
yeah.
in the Texas area.
Leatherneck started. There's some debate. Most of the old founders are gone, but it started. The idea of it actually started in the mid '90s. It didn't come into fruition until somewhere around '99, 2000. The first chapter in Michigan, where I'm from, stood up in 2004. I joined, I prospected in 2013, and I earned my patch in 2014.
Now, do you guys, without getting too much into it, because I can understand, because I do have some, Marine brothers that are part of that institution. It's like James Reagan up in Texas. Do you guys have, like, each chapter, do you guys have like a mission statement, or do you guys? Can you tell us
philanthropic, or
anything
is
what
it
you
just
do as far as?
Oh,
like,
absolutely. We do have a mission statement. We're all Marines. It's every leatherneck is a former Marine or a corpsman that served in a fleet Marine force.
Yeah, which they get,
they have to be
they
with the
get by
unit.
default.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
any
they're-
Green Silent Corpsman
yeah.
is more than welcome to the circle. So.
Yeah, we've got I want to say maybe 5% of our club are corpsmen.
Nice.
But every chapter operates on their own, but we're all the same club. We all pretty much have the same mission statement. We support a lot of local veteran organizations. Where I'm at, we support an organization called Operation Injured Soldiers that runs a place called Braveheart Estates, which is a retreat for combat vets to just unplug the fuck out of the world for a while. It's this enormous mansion up in Pellston, Michigan. 8 bedrooms, cabins on the property, and you go out there and you just get pampered and taken care of for a weekend.
What's it called again? Because we might have had some interference.
The parent organization is Operation Injured Soldiers.
Okay.
The estate, the place is Braveheart Estate.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
2 words, Braveheart.
Is that
Wanna
something you
make
can
sure
make
you got
donations
recorded.
to, or anything?
Absolutely, and it runs
So-
entirely on donations.
So at the end,
Yeah.
what we'll do is, like, if
So-
anybody has any, I know Chad is
Those
sitting in the
links
background.
on there.
Anybody
Yeah.
has any plugs or anything like that, we're more than, especially that is beneficial to the community, whether it's a motorcycle club, whether it's whether it's just Marines in general, or just gives back to the community. We want to make sure we get those plugs in.
Yeah, on the national level, every year we run we raffle off a Harley Davidson every year, and all the proceeds of that goes to the Semper Fi Fund.
Nice.
So every year in June, we did it right here in Nashville this year. We cut a big ass check to the Semper Fi Fund.
Nice.
And that's what it is.
Usually around $25,000 we throw out.
It's always good to hear, stuff like the feel good stories about, us giving back to when people that say, does the Marine Corps owe you anything? And I go, no, I owe everything to the Marine Corps. And that's even when you get out, is like, I work for Under Armour, and we do what's called give back stuff, where there were, also I'm also involved in Hunters for the Hungry. So anything, if I harvest 5 deers, I want to make sure I give one back to them. And it's not for the fucking medals.
Right.
It's just stuff like, we want to make sure we get that out, and that's what a big part is. I talk about with the 3-1 Association, is getting out there and doing stuff and giving back, and still continue to have a mission,
Right.
if you will. So
Yeah,
whatever,
that's what we were hitting on earlier.
And that's-
and it's not what you do for a living. It's what you. Actually, I like the phrase "what you do to live."
Yeah.
So, and it's not about the freaking. Yeah, money's important because you got to eat, you got to put a roof over. But what did you do? What did you do to make, not necessarily yourself better, but your environment better?
Well, like I
Leave
said,
it better than you found
and that's
it,
the
right?
club. That's the club. And it's the Brotherhood. We do a lot of good. but we take care of one another.
Right.
You know, that's what it's all about. You know, we live our lives on our fucking bikes. You know, shit.
I've had them come with it because I had the retired plate on the back of my truck,
Yeah.
and I've had the same. I don't know if it was Tennessee chapter or like come up beside me and give me the two fingers like. Rah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Tony rode down here from Michigan, like
Yeah,
almost
no,
to Canada.
So yeah, whenever we travel, it's a protocol within the club is to let folks know that you're traveling. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, like I said, I'm from Michigan, so before I took off, I let the state presidents of Kentucky and you know,
so that you're passing through.
let them know I'm bouncing around in their backyard. And that's about. Okay, we got a brother traveling. If he goes down, if he needs something,
local
they can
hospitals,
get
that
out
kind
there.
of stuff.
They can get out there and take care of me.
Yeah.
So you know, I let the state president know here, and you saw the two guys that were sitting out there hanging out and bullshitting all day.
Yeah.
One of them never met him before.
Nice.
He's my brother.
Yeah.
The other one, I met him once when I came down here in June. And he came down here. He's more than happy to come and hang out and shoot the shit, drink some beer, and have a good time. That's what it's about.
Supporting your
It doesn't-
brother.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are, who you know. If you got the same shit on your back, he's your brother. He's going to take care of you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Oh, if I see that logo,
good
like
stuff.
that's the first thing when I saw your colors.
Yeah.
It was like I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
It was like if I see it, if I'm at the the Walmart, if I see the logo, so. Or as I say, the brand of honor, if you will. Like,
But see, here's the question. Everybody here's a grunt, right? Even if you didn't get out as a grunt, you started as a grunt somewhere, right?
I lat moved and became a pogue.
But that's a
We
perfect thing.
appreciate the
though.
support.
But here's the thing.
No, well, I tell you that I was an Armory, you'll say fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what we were.
We
Me and
that's
Murph,
what we ended up
we
doing.
were.
Yeah, I lat moved into an Armory, and yeah,
So we
these
know
guys, I mean, you never took a rifle. I actually kept a cup
You
under
took
the
a
window
rifle.
with dirty Q-tips in it. So you came to the window. I didn't grab a clean Q-tip. I grabbed one of the dirty ones. I said, no,
that's
your shit's not
messed
clean. You
up,
got to
dude.
go.
Now it comes out.
Hey, for explaining so much. The company,
We
it
were
wasn't
clean
just
Armory.
us.
We
No,
didn't do that shit.
Explains so
All
much.
you
Some
motherfuckers are
mafia
the
type
same.
shit.
If I didn't like you, your weapon was not coming in.
It
the first
depends on
time.
what day. If it was fucking Friday, your shit was spotless.
Yeah. No, but we all see that branding out in the real world, right? And we go, oh man, that guy's a Marine. I can associate with him. And then you ask him, well, what would you do? Like, oh, I was a admin, supply admin, or whatever. Like, wait, you weren't a grunt? No. And all of a sudden, the Brotherhood's still there. Don't get me wrong. I'm
There's a
not
hero,
down here,
yeah.
But I understand.
but it's kind of like I can't associate with you. I mean, not I can't associate. I can't relate to you.
Or somebody said, "What's your MOS?" And they go 54-20. What the fuck?
What
is
the
that?
I have
fuck?
no idea. Doesn't mean
lot of
those
people
three
don't go
just
that
stop.
high.
I don't care what you did. I have no
You're done
interest in what you
talking.
did.
Just
You're
hoorah.
totally
So,
done.
yeah.
Be about
Hey,
your
thank you
business.
for your service,
You
brother.
get that, or you get, I was a Navy SEAL. I'm like, really?
Really?
I hear it.
Here's a fun story.
Damn.
I'm gonna flip.
Here's a fun.
Snipers and recon.
Here's a
Yeah,
fun fact. There's no
everywhere.
cooks in the Navy.
No,
Like
yeah.
everybody's a
No.
fucking Navy SEAL. Like how many? I thought there were like 6
But you know
or
what's
7
funny?
teams.
When you were in and
They're
you were
all
on shift, that was the
350
greatest motherfucker to see was a cook.
Yeah,
We were
man.
happy as hell to see that guy, but
Make
nobody wants to be
friends.
that guy
Make friends
now.
with the
Nobody
mid-rats
wants to be
guys.
that
Mid-rats guys.
Yeah.
Mid-rats.
Yeah.
Give me some tots.
So and that's the other thing that I really like about Leathernecks is that you're talking about his MOS. We don't fuck about MOS. We don't fuck about rank.
Well, and
We
that's
got-
how you behave afterwards, though, because there's that elitism that you get from those guys that were like, well, I got it as a master gunnery sergeant or whatever, and you're like, does that matter now? Honestly,
Yeah.
No.
do we
You know what
care
your
about
rank is
rank
now?
now?
Who gives a shit?
No, because you know what? You share the same damn adversity
Right.
on the job you got fired from that I did on the job I just got fired from. We both can't support
That's
our
why I say
families
the
now.
artist formerly known as. is
Right,
like-
and that's just it. It's at this point, dude, we went to boot camp, we earned the title. What you did after that defines you as a man based on your memory and stuff. But honestly, dude, I could care less. If you need help, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
I don't care what your MOS was. But it's hard because as grunts, we have that, what did you do? Like, I need to know if your adversity is equal to mine. Because then if it is, bro, I got you so much more. But then it's like, okay, he's still a Marine.
It goes
Do I
from a
take care of him?
2-minute conversation to a freaking 40
seconds.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
exactly.
Depending on what MOS it was it was a 2-minute or 30-second.
Like this guy, because his reserve unit, he was at, they were on the towers where we grew up. So anytime you're trying to sleep and freaking like expended
So-
rounds were hitting your roof, it was these fucking
Are
guys.
they the ones that got engaged with the
Army unit.
Army cruising by and I got off radio
It's them.
watch right as that went
And
down?
see, that's what you get right. Like I could talk this like
See, I left that part out. I
knew who. As soon as he said it, I knew who he was.
I swear, we're not gonna forget about you. We're getting there. We are. We're slowly getting there.
Right here.
But man, when that happened, I just got off radio watch at night in the CP, and I remember just going, "Nothing happened, man. You're good. Everything's cool." And I think I handed it off to Knight, and I said, "You're good." And I'd walked off, and I was giving somebody shit, and grabbed one of those stupid little cup of cereal things, and I was just walking out, and I heard, "Oh shit, we got contact. Get the QRF ready." And I'm like, "Going to bed. See you." Fuck yeah.
It was
then
a
I heard
link.
it all
It was
go
a
down.
link of an NVG to let them know we were there.
It was the Fireflies, right? Wasn't that what it was?
something.
Yeah, the little IR
Something
things.
like that.
Yeah, the IR button.
And then they
Jeez.
And they didn't
looked us up.
respond, so
They didn't respond
of
very
course
well.
we're going to open it with everything we got.
Why would the Army respond?
Yeah.
Why would they give us
Yeah.
what they
A few times
talked
there.
about it?
Yeah,
Thank
let
God
me-
they got
They're like, they're
weapons and
shooting
don't know how
back.
to
Well,
use
how the
them.
fuck can you tell? Because they can't hit it.
I don't hear
Can't hit
anything
a
around.
prison.
It's going.
Fuck yeah.
Let me go back to something here. We're talking about different things, helping people out. One of the things after I came home, I started this group, and these guys are aware of it. It's a Facebook group called My Brother's Keepers, and it's a suicide. I'm not gonna say prevention, but it's a suicide stop.
Awareness and-
Yeah.
No, it's
An
an
intervention.
intervention type deal. And help me kind of describe it if I get cut, sideways. But what it is, we've taken over, basically the country and cut it into sectors and sections. When we all know, when a guy is having problems, he's going to do something. He calls the guys he served with. Well, a motherfucker could be in, Mississippi calling his buddy in California. There's no way to get anybody to
Right.
Right.
So the idea is that people get on this Facebook page and say, hey, such and such, he's in this general location. Sometimes we need a cell phone number or something, but somebody local can go track him down.
Right.
It's slowed down here a lot lately, right? Because my effort to the page has slowed down, but we did a lot of good things and still do. But it goes back to what we were saying, the continuous help,
Yeah.
looking out for the brothers.
And it works. I mean, how many law enforcement agencies did you call trying to find me when I went off radar?
A lot.
Oh yeah, we were a popular topic for a while.
I actually reached out to my police connections and did some backdoor stuff to try to figure out the numbers and different things. And
You love and hate your
We've
friends in
got
those moments.
higher level
Dude, I
law
love you.
enforcement, federal breaking
Yeah.
laws
What are you
and
doing?
protocols to track people. I mean, it's amazing the things that have
Absolutely.
gone on.
yeah, cutting some corners to find some information that normally I wouldn't have access to get the information that I wanted.
There was a guy in my hometown. I live in a small town in southeast Indiana, 5,000, 6,000 people. And long story short, the kid, he had done a couple deployments, called his buddy, his old staff sergeant or whatever, said, this is it, I'm done. I'm walking down the interstate, fuck it, I'm done. And guy he did everything he could, talked to him, tried to talk him out of it for a couple hours. As this fucker's walking in the middle of the night, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and the phone went dead. Presumably the guy's battery, but it wasn't. The guy he was talking to, he was in, like I said, California. He had a buddy, he was still in, he had a buddy from southeast Indiana, but his buddy was in Japan. So he said, hey man, this is the deal. Who do you know, in that town that can help? What Marines you know? Well, I was a Marine. So I got messages from Japan. This is the deal. The kid's on, blah, blah, blah. Well, fuck, now it's 6:30 in the morning. We've gone 7-8 hours.
Since conversation.
I didn't know what to do. So I'm friends with, so it's a small town, like I said, and I'm friends with a lot of the cops. Drove by the police station, I was going to go in. Luckily, the chief was outside. I said, hey man, I got a fucking problem. Read this, look at this. I need help. I don't know what to do. Pinged the kid's cell phone, did all the stuff. I mean, they put the word out, find this guy. Thankfully, a deputy sheriff a couple counties over, who was a former Marine, really went after him, found him under a bridge and saved him.
Oh.
And that's how I got the idea to start this stuff. There's got to be a quicker way. The fucker from Japan or the California guy should have immediately been able to have
Communicate
some
somebody
resource
Too much lag there.
to
Yeah.
get, and that's how we started it.
Nice.
And it's done good things.
Whatever. Just like at the end, I mean, I definitely want you to plug that.
Yeah, we need links. We
And,
can write down all this shit, and we can link it in the show notes.
And make sure, like, when you're talking into the mic, make sure you definitely put any plugs that you have, because it's good to sit around and talk and shoot the shit and be on video and and fill a time slot. But the big takeaway we want to get is there's information out there for 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, or any Marines in general.
Yeah.
Right.
That to get that information out there. So we would definitely want to put our best foot forward.
For sure.
So we were making our way around, and we stopped somewhere.
Hey,
in
Yeah.
Over here for big
What a
sexy
guy who
man.
obviously
I wasn't gonna.
he obviously needs to work out.
I was.
He's so much smaller than the last time I saw him. He really is.
He was about 105 pounds when we got out.
His legs
Just
way
saying,
more
Had
than
to
my
gripe
trunk.
his ass down on the flight deck.
Just saying.
Used to be bigger, but I'm older and slower, a little fatter. Yeah, Weapons 3-1. I from Maine started out there, boot camp, MCT, SOI, all that fun stuff over there. And the minute they said I could go to California, I'm like, hell yeah, let's try something different. And I remember landing, because I felt like I was a PT stud, and all these guys said, oh, you're gonna hate it. All they do is fucking PT out there. And I remember landing, and we're on the bus driving in the base, and there's fire break. So I didn't know what a big ass fire break was. I
After
thought
the first fire, like,
and I'm
that
like,
shit didn't work at all.
they run up that shit. Oh fuck, I am screwed.
Wait, that's not what it's intended for.
Why they call it Eagle's Nest? Well, let me tell you why.
But it was good times, and I felt like at that age I was career oriented. Like I had no intention of leaving the Marine Corps. I felt like I had a 30-year plan in my head. I got teased for being kind of like by the book. Like I didn't go out and drink. I knew I wanted to be force recon. I wanted to do all kinds of high-speed shit, and I studied that. I didn't go home. So, my friend, you ever come? No. Now I'm just
here.
I am here. And we had our first. Well, Somalia was amazing. I thought because I had that mentality.
What we trained
is
for,
what we
man.
trained for. But I'm jumping way ahead, but I was disenfranchised right at the end. I just felt I made all this commitment. I passed all these tests and all these indocs and got accepted to what I wanted to get into, and I got denied by a chain of command. And I felt, I know I'm obligated to serve, but at the same time I felt
But you're not. It's a volunteer
manipulated a
program.
little bit. And I'm like, the only course of action I have is to take myself out of the game.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to control me that much.
Yeah.
Right.
And I did. And it's arrogant. I still feel like it's stupid at times. You look back that far. And a little too much ego. You could have done it all again in 6 months. I don't know. Would you? Could you?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to get me motivated for another 6 months. So.
And I went back home to Maine, shoveled some snow for a few months, hooked up with a girl, and we moved to Northern California, and I went into 123 from there in '99. And then was with Unidad, Texas, and Louisiana, going into Iraq. And got jacked up there, and that kind of ended my ball game.
So what do you do? What do you do now?
I work with.
What do you do to live?
To live right now, that's a great question. I work with FEMA right now, and that just goes back to my while we're having this conversation, mission and purpose. Like I did a lot of stuff over the years, trying to find that. I chased money for a while, thinking that was going to satisfy that need. Put myself in different careers, just thinking, well, I can do anything.
Right.
And you think it's going to fill that void. Started my own business, and then it just got to a point. I was in law enforcement for a few years, and it just got to that point over the past few years, running my own business, where I still needed to serve something. And I'm like, so I knew I wasn't going to jump right back into law enforcement, and so I jumped into FEMA, and I love the feeling of Johnny on the spot helping. A tornado hits here, and you're able to do something. That just fulfills that purpose and mission for me. And then, like, for yourself, I love the gym. I've been personal trainer, had my own personal training business for almost 20 years.
For the record, I work out too, if anybody is not aware.
We saw your guns.
So personal training, helping others.
I don't.
I got injured, and
We know.
I
We all
didn't
know.
enjoy the road back.
Yeah.
But finally, when it clicked that I had to help myself, that's when I'm like, well, the only other thing I like doing is that. So let me help other people.
Yeah.
And that started that long road of physical and mental rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, I gotta relax my brain and my body and just start from ground zero. You know, because you're holding on. I always say you're holding on to that last rung of the ladder, and you can either let go and just let go of life, or you can reach up and start climbing.
That's right.
No matter how embarrassing it is to reach out, to
Yeah.
talk, and it's tough, man. There was a moment in my law enforcement career, super embarrassing, but I say it because I know there's other people out there. I trapped myself in my own closet, and they had to come get me. And it's like, fuck. You know, you're not thinking about it when they're doing it or when it's happening, but when it's over, you're like, I just fucked myself real bad. And you're like, but you're still here.
Yeah.
You're waking up.
Yeah, and that's what I said earlier, and I'll say it again, and to the point to where there's no such thing as saying something like too much, and that is like, I appreciate the fact that you woke up this morning.
Yeah, thanks for
I
sharing.
appreciate the fact that everybody in this circle, the school circle, if you will, like woke up this morning, and appreciate what I think a lot of people don't understand is what we appreciate. It's like you'll stare at something, and people will think that you're like staring off. You just like you're lost in. I'm staring at a tree because I'm happy I'm looking at a fucking tree today.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
driving
Just,
home.
So-
When I see sun on a tree, great
Yeah.
example. You're appreciative.
Yeah.
And if you guys, if I see you guys on the street and I come up and give you like freaking one of those bro hugs, something like that, and I do it maybe a little too tight, so it's kind of awkward.
No, it's just
It's
you're super
because I
appreciative
am
right
glad.
now.
I'm glad.
I can feel it on my leg. I feel it on my leg.
That's a different hug. That's a different hug.
Better be a fucking roller coaster.
What the fuck's
It's
going
a
on?
pencil, bro.
Are you hooking the leg around or no? That's all I want to know.
It was like,
What kind of hug are we
but
talking?
it, all joking aside, that shit's fucking funny, by the way. It
There's the
gives
safe
you
ground.
appreciation. It is like I go home and I sit on my front porch and I'll catch myself staring at my dog.
Yeah.
It's because
Being present in the moment.
yeah,
Right,
you
right,
get
right.
caught up. You get caught up in the moment, and you get caught up in, I'll sit at my desk at work, and I decided to just, I have a Marine Corps flag behind me, and I also have a flag that's behind me that it shows Battle of Fallujah, and it shows all the guys who are still with us and who not, and I have, and it's never a sad moment. It's never. People say, what was. The one question I will ask, that I will answer, and I always answer with a short question, they say, what was combat like? And I go, it was the best fucking worst time I ever had.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I'm going to go with it.
Well, it's the pinnacle of your training, but it's also the worst of human beings at the same time. So you don't want to be there, but that's why you trained.
Yeah.
We all trained for that very purpose. That's all they trained us to be, is killers. So how do you come down from that and not do what you were supposed to do?
It is the best. I have relationships and new relationships now that you just can't replace that. You just don't find that in every day. That's why I say it's the best worst time I've ever had.
Yeah.
Right. I twist everything in my mind to make it work the way I want it to work.
Yeah.
So my mission when we went to Somalia was to make sure that these guys came back. And I remember feeling a sigh of relief when we got back on the boat going, no scratches, we're good.
The one thing that we do in Somalia is not like one of those. It's not like it's not like Chosen Reservoir. It's not like.
It's not like anything.
It's not like
what we did.
It's
It's not
like
like
what
what
you
anybody
did.
else did. It's what we did.
But the one thing that I did take away from any story I've ever heard is nobody fucked with the Marines.
Yep.
It's like if you watch the movie like Black Hawk Down, and like he's like
And that's
they
what
waited
the
till
Army
you
big
some bitches
times.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all left.
They waited till
rolled
you
in.
left.
Yeah.
And the same thing it was is in Iraq and Afghanistan is do not like they saw the tracks with the freaking like the little arrow on the side of it.
That and the
Don't
digital
shoot at them
uniforms.
Right.
because they'll stop.
Yeah, you
and
don't
get
want
off.
to stop
Yeah,
and
you
engage.
kill
They don't just roll through. They'll stop and say, "Hey, what's up?"
So they waited for you guys.
Your mama
Glad you guys knocked.
Yeah, they didn't engage us in
Controlling
any
clicks, and they're like,
capacity
"Guys, what are
intentionally
you doing?"
while we were there. They waited.
They
for us
gave
to
they
eat
gave it a
first.
shot, and they
Control out
learned
here,
a
yeah.
hard lesson. Just
Yeah.
like it
Fuck yeah.
doesn't matter if it was 91 or 2001 or 1972.
Yeah.
They are 68. So
Yeah.
They learned a hard lesson.
they learned.
Well, that's that
hard
esprit de
lesson.
corps, right? The rest of the country
Yeah.
knows. I don't want to. I'll be brief, but the
How we
rest of the
doing?
country knows.
Just making sure we're
If
good.
they've ever run into a
Yep,
Marine,
we're cool. We're at an hour.
They
We're still rolling.
they know who. Like no one ever guessed. I'm not sure if that was a Marine or not. No one has ever said that.
See the house that was there? Yeah, that was the Marines.
They've always known.
The one thing that's always, whether it was Fallujah
Yeah.
or Mogadishu
to a fight,
or ways in,
Yep.
it was freaking locate and close with.
Yeah.
So and they learned that lesson from
And
freaking,
engage
and, that, and that's
immediately
what we
as quickly
bring.
as
That's what we
possibly
bring to
can.
the fucking party.
Right.
That's what we bring to the
So,
party. Yeah.
and that's what we. I mean, regardless if we work out or we don't work out, the one mindset that we have is like like I said earlier, when we go into a restaurant, get a dominant corner,
Right.
and I can see the door. So, and I know how many people roughly are in this freaking room.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but when we were in Somalia, if anybody recalls this point, when we were egressing and the LCACs were coming back, they got turned around because they couldn't come ashore because there were a couple 50 cal rounds going overboard. So they just kept coming back, and we were staged there behind Lima Company, and we're just all just waiting to go. And I remember not a bit of hesitation. At some point, somebody said, "We got to stop this shit right now." The next technical that comes up is gone, and they lit it up, and it was gone. Like it was the firing range at night. That's all it was. That's all I remember is seeing constant. People were emptying magazines into a Datsun.
That was the purpose.
Yeah,
You
and
killed a
so-
donkey.
Well,
3 donkeys?
Yep, it was. We were setting up and this is like a story not for the podcast, but anyway.
Well, it's on the fucking
He was a saw
podcast. So
gunner.
have at
Were
it.
you counting points for donkeys? I just want to know.
We were told weapons free. If it moves, killed it, and this sumbitch didn't hear the memo. So.
he freaking. I mean, the sun came up and they're.
you just
fucking
killed
dead
some
donkey.
Haji's girlfriend.
He's like,
Yeah. Well,
he goes contact right.
Remember-
Whips around 200 rounds of freaking 5.56 straight out of freaking. The barrel was glowing.
I was a saw gunner, and I remember lighting it up, and I said, I think I got a fire team. And the next morning, we had to do a fucking recon. We pushed out, and we looked, and I said, oh.
BD or do a battle. A
I was
BDA.
like, goddamn, that wasn't a fire team. That was 3 fucking donkeys.
With 4 legs, not 4 people.
Yeah, there was a lot of
But that
motherfuckers.
translates into the real world when somebody says pull the trigger. Anybody that says, "Hey, do I have any volunteers?" immediately go, "I'm not going to sit here and wait for somebody to raise their hand."
Right.
No, I think it's like what
That's-
Chad was telling. When for the LA riots is like when the sheriff deputy says, "Cover me." You got it.
You
sport.
better specify what that means, because that liquor store is not going to be there in 5
Fucking
minutes.
do it. Don't ask. Just do
You
it.
should have got briefed before I got here.
Tell me
Yeah.
what you specifically mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why, one of the things I think we all pull out of that whole incident, not just our Marine Corps training, but the combat training, is you have to be decisive. You have to be able to calculate your decision. You have to make a calculated decision, and you have to be able to weigh the consequences of said decision. So
Like that.
Very
it's
true.
just like that.
Very,
Yeah.
very
And that actually translates. I'm gonna give you an example, and you're gonna go. That's gonna be an oh shit moment. Is like when you go to like the grocery store and you go to park.
Yeah.
You take the fucking first available parking spot. You don't.
You
like
don't
drive
wait
around.
to the first-
That's
yeah.
a decisive.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? That's a
Because I can get
decisive.
in and out of there by the time I'm waiting for that spot.
I'm gonna go. I assess, and I see this line over here. Aisle 12 it's got this guy. It's got 6 people in it, but I've already scanned the area, and I can see they only got like 6 or 7 items.
Right.
So instead of going over to this aisle, it's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but then people are with us are like, "What are you doing right now?"
Right. I'm pretty sure I've ended relationships like that.
Let's go over there.
Well, here's a
They're
fun
like, "What
fact.
just happened?"
We need to go to aisle 3. I'm like, nobody's in this
I
one.
just did my SMEAC. Leave me alone, dude.
Yep.
I think being so young at that time during Somalia and Mogadishu was that it paid forward.
Yeah. We didn't know
Years
that.
later.
You didn't realize
You
that.
you don't realize it, but the way we trained,
Yep.
the camaraderie we built. When Iraq broke out, I was one of 3 in a battalion that's seen combat, and so
I was 1 of 2.
and now you're in a
was
leadership
major.
role, and so you have lieutenants and asking you, captains asking you to get engaged, and
Wow.
on stuff that you were a lance corporal about,
Right.
back in the day.
Yeah.
But you're now you're training young devil dogs and trying to bring them back.
Yeah.
And so you see it come full circle and you go later on. And
Well,
I love that.
That's one of the things we're trying to do with just civilian guys that we know. We know that the problems in our communities right now is not circumstantial. It's the decisions that all of us make. We have military training, so we can be better leaders, more effective if we choose to use that. But a lot of the civilian sector doesn't have that training to step up to the plate and make a decision. So a lot of the guys that we we have in our group that we work out with, we're trying to enforce and encourage those decision-making skills and abilities.
You're still
Insane.
babysitting.
We're still
You're
babysitting.
still babysitting.
But and it's sad because these are full-grown men. Some of them are older than us. We're mentoring men that are 50-something years old and helping them make the decisions and go, look, guys, you got to pull the trigger on this. And we say that figuratively, but when you make a decision in your family, you got to weigh all the consequences. Hey, how is this going to affect my family if I go out and get blitzed every night? Well, your kids are going to see a dad that comes home drunk.
What
What
I
are you
think I
going
talked
to do?
about it earlier. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like what you wake up. What do you wake up to do? What do you not do for a living?
Right.
I'm going to use that.
Right.
Patent pending. What do you do to live?
Right.
So
Everybody
Yeah.
needs to have that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like Tony belongs to the MC. You know, Reed's doing the football thing. He works out, I work out. Everybody's got their thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that's healthy. That's a healthy thing for everybody to get in.
Right.
And especially it builds camaraderie. It gives you a place to belong. It gives you something to do, something to occupy your mind with.
Right.
Well, that's generally, everybody says Marines are arrogant. Well,
fuck yeah,
of course
man.
we're fucking arrogant. We're better than you.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason we're better than you is because no matter how shitty our lives are, our internal drive is to serve something larger than ourselves.
But we earned that arrogance,
Yeah.
and that's the problem that people
Yeah.
don't understand. It's not like we were just given it. It was something that
it's
we
not
earned.
cocky. It's convinced.
It's
Yeah.
convinced. And,
Yeah.
and if we can humble ourselves enough to say, hey, I want to teach you, I want to be a mentor to you, it's way more effective. Because any of the leaders that we've had throughout our careers, and we were talking to our first lieutenant of our CAAT Alpha at the time, and he was such an effective leader because he displayed literally all the leadership traits. He had humility, he had, decisiveness, he made decisions. And we look at him and go, man, that's what a leader should be. But then you go to another unit and you see somebody that doesn't express that, and you're like, oh, I'm not following.
Well,
that
that's
guy."
why Cat Alpha was the best. That's what you're trying to say.
Trying to be Here we humble, go. humble
It's
about
like cool
it.
T-shirts. I'll give you that. I've seen the post.
Yeah, this guy needs some clothes.
The humble brag.
Somebody get this guy another beer.
With that being said, what we're going to do is
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to go ahead and wrap up. Corey, I'm going to let you, if
Yep.
you have any final thoughts or any questions that you have for him, go ahead and hit with that. And then we'll do our plugs. We'll have Chad,
Sure.
who's been waiting. We would definitely want him
Yeah,
to plug his
for
book.
Sure.
And hey, Chad, can you go grab Bart real quick to see so we can. And of course, Micah, you got to edit some of this stuff out. So right now we're just going to wait for him to show up. But we're going to take this opportunity to plug anything that you want to plug.
Sure.
And any final thoughts? And we'll start with. I think I've run my suck freaking plenty. So
Been doing that for years.
yeah, well, you know what?
Old habits
We're gonna
die.
do the consolidate on target
Hard,
thing.
right?
Is that what you're saying?
I do
Everybody's
give a
gonna
good
get
live
together.
over, you feel not?
Yeah, some
It's pretty
shit.
spot on. Yeah.
No, I think it was awesome, man. I think it was awesome being here with you guys, getting to hear
We're quickly running out of
the
daylight.
stories. I appreciate it.
It's
Yeah,
chow
we're
time.
losing light. I smell chows here. I just want to say thank you guys for sharing this. I know it felt like a group therapy session probably on some end, but
No, I've
it
done
was
group
not
therapy.
at all.
This ain't it.
No,
Yeah.
good. Well, thank God,
Your
because
pants were on or
this
off?
was badass.
Yes.
Well, porn
Nobody got
industry.
choked out.
I heard chow. So, fucking let's just push through it real quick and be done.
So while we wait for Bart and Chad to show up, and we'd like to thank members of our studio audience, all one of you. So
One now. Yeah, it's went. It's like 3 or 4 at one
So,
time.
but this does reach a greater audience. Once again, I'll go ahead and give my plug. It's 3rd Battalion 1st Marines Association.com.
or Brahma 31 on Instagram.
We hope you guys, maybe by no means, but it is definitely an avenue, if you will, a platform that
Sure.
helps bridge the gap. I mean, because I had no idea that I had a brother in Hendersonville. I do now.
Nice.
You can reach me on if that's not your thing, but you can reach me on you can find me at Johnny Lassiter in Facebook out of Mount Juliet. So definitely hit me up, and then Instagram at NC First Shore. So
Gotcha. Snapchat.
Johnny don't tweet or Snapchat. So I give my There's certain things that I give my girlfriend for a rain on my phone, so I just like I don't want to have anything that disappears.
Yeah.
So what we'll start is anybody that has we'll start to my left. I know we have a couple plugs. Is Bart on his way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Links, plugs, if you guys got them, throw them in there.
So we'll have you come in and definitely, and then we'll have WRF Warrior Reunion Foundation close up shop, and then we'll go eat.
Nice.
So cool. What you got? What you plug?
It's the My Brother's Keepers is a Facebook page. Suicide intervention. I don't have a link for it right now.
And that's open to anybody, right?
Yep. You
Okay.
have to be approved to join, but
Prior service,
anybody,
police,
any human
anybody.
being that's willing to help.
Okay. If you got a life to live, you got a life to
Civilian,
take, we'll
doesn't
take
matter.
it. Okay.
Yep. Anybody's gonna help.
Gotcha. Cool.
And we don't do donations. We don't do any of that. We do it just to do the right thing.
Cool.
Good deal.
But I'll just let Doug. So Greg and I co-lead a men's group out in Southern California. It's called IGY6, but he's the I call him the CEO. He's the one who's in charge of all the back end stuff. But I'll let him finish up. With
Yeah,
that.
so it's just for guys to get together and understand leadership skills and figure out how to be men in a society where skinny jeans are the prevalent thing. And I don't say that in necessarily a negative connotation, other than the men that go along with those skinny jeans generally don't.
They have beards, but not much else.
Yeah.
Can't change the
So
tire.
it's
They can't change the tire. So it's-
IGY6.
Yeah, so it's IGY6, just like the brand that you guys see with the semicolon or whatever, but it's IGOTY6. And we're on Instagram and Facebook at that moniker at IGOTY6. And
Cool.
we post workouts and we actually do a little bit of a podcast every once in a while to try to help guys figure out how to steer their way in this world.
Sweet.
Tony,
What?
your plug.
We
AMC.
need to know all your information about the MC. Everything.
How many members you got? How many-
All of it.
Well, we got chapters all over
No.
the country. I think we do have a web presence, but if you're not a member, you're not going to be able to access any of it. But,
Right.
you know, if you're interested in it, if anybody's interested in it, they can just email me. Oh, shit.
You guys got like a community board or something where if somebody wants to get in on a poker run nearby, they can
well,
come donate or
like I
anything?
said, every chapter's
Okay.
runs their own stuff. So yeah, they'll post the shit locally. You know, we're not gonna
Nationally
publicize
broadcast, yeah.
a Michigan poker run in Florida.
Okay.
You know, so everything's pretty much local.
Well, if you find a guy though, you usually find a guy. So Tony hooked me up with the local group here that
Yeah.
I talk to. So that's how I kind of know
Well,
those guys.
most of it's word of mouth networking. You know, because we're not.
You have to have a motorcycle.
Yes,
That's a requirement, right?
MC. MC is motorcycle club.
I'm
So
just
is it-
stating the obvious
If you
because
have
there's
your own
other.
horse,
Yeah.
they might talk to you.
Now,
I'm just
is
saying.
it
Does it have to be American made?
It does not have to be American made, but it does
I
have
know
to be a
MCs that
cruiser.
require
No
that.
crotch rockets.
Oh, yeah.
See, I know
Now, is
MCs
it
that require
taboo to roll
American
up on a
made.
dude with a cut and tap on him and say, hey, can you tell me something about your
What's
shit?
that? Say it again.
Okay, is it taboo to roll up on a guy with a cut and say, hey, can
Absolutely
you tell
not.
me about your shit?
I don't mean rolling
So
up
they're-
on them. Don't mean,
No, I'm
Yeah,
not
don't
like
be all
with the fan and the
creepy.
door open, but you can roll in.
Most
and-
of us are packing, you
Yeah,
know, be
okay.
doing that shit.
I don't speak for everybody.
So just
No,
come up,
absolutely
tap
not.
on,
You know,
say,
you
hey, help me
introduce
out.
yourself as a
Give 'em a
Marine.
fair
We're all about the Marines.
Okay,
We're all about
cool.
the Brotherhood. We're all about growing and expanding the Brotherhood. Every leatherneck is a Marine, but not every Marine is a leatherneck.
Okay, cool.
We do have a prospect process.
It's not what you do for a living. It's what you do for to live.
I was waiting to hear where you were going.
That's going to be on a
Screw it
t-shirt.
up.
You got to rehearse it.
I got my business, West Coast Muscle. I do training and apparel, but I do have a charity line, which is Flex for the Flag. And so all proceeds from Flex for the Flag get saved over the year and donated around November to different veterans charity needs each year.
Right on.
So if you like apparel and like Flex for the Flag, look it up.
I like
Sweet,
apparel.
yeah.
I love the flag. Yeah, I'll flex from time to time. So if I'm by myself. So selfie.